Salute, ATP. What it do? It's your boy Rain. Back at you guys with another one. Salute to all my subscribers. If this is your first time tapping into content, listen, man, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, hit your bell icon so you get alerts when all this content is dropping. So, Eddie Hearn comments, has an interview with Andre Ward, and has an opinion on the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia situation. And the space is doing what the space does, right? You're going to have, it's going to be extreme one way or the other. And sometimes, multiple things can coexist in the same space. So, you guys know, back in April 20th, Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney had a fight. The buildup to that fight was very crazy. Ryan Garcia was doing a lot of weird stuff and just being real disruptive to the social media space with all the information he was coming with and the things that some people thought it was just to distract Devin Haney, distract everybody in the world just to get attention. Other people felt like Ryan Garcia may have been having a meltdown right in front of the world, to the point to where the New York State Athletic Commission was running psychological, what did I say? Mental health tests on Ryan Garcia to see if they were even going to let him fight. This is how seriously everybody was taking it, including myself. I thought it was real disturbing to see how Ryan Garcia was moving. But also on the build up to the fight, for me personally, I did notice the mood changes and mood swings. And in the beginning of that camp, when he did an interview specifically with a social media influencer named Neo. I can't remember his name, but ultimately I remember in that interview me noticing just the size difference on Ryan Garcia pause, right? You know what I'm saying? But noticing that he was beginning to, I compared it to and said he looked like he was going through a second puberty, right? Voice was getting deeper, was getting a little bit, muscles was getting big, he gained weight, and he didn't give me the energy of somebody that was in a fight camp. Right? Somebody's preparing to get ready for a fight, the way you would think a fighter's mind would be, the way a fighter would start looking, the mind state and everything just in total, in all totality, didn't give me a fighter getting ready for a fight. That being said, just giving you guys just a little bit look into my mind, saying at that point, I did start questioning and wondering as to whether or not he might have been moving in the direction of, some sort of supplement might have been affecting his mood, right? We can take it for what it is. I'm not going to say I thought the man was on steroids or anything like that, but I did notice mood swings and things going on with him around that time period. But, innocent until proven guilty, right? And to be honest with you, at that point, I just kind of moved on from it and said, okay, this guy's just growing. He's a young man. He's growing into his man strength, into his man body. Maybe this is part of the whole process. But I digress to go and say that Eddie Hearn finally gets an opportunity to speak on this with an interview with Andre Ward on All the Smoke Fighting now. So we all know All the Smoke with Steven Jackson and the co-host there. And we know that they have this new section of the show where it's All the Smoke Fight. And Andre Ward seems to be the one who's hosting on that. That seems to be his segment that he does specifically. He had Eddie Hearn on there, and they got to speaking on that. And Eddie Hearn, spoke on it and said that, listen, man, there were a lot of things that were off with that fight. Ryan Garcia being an obvious one, but he also noticed that Devin Haney was making some changes in his camp that, raised some concern from Eddie Hearn's point of view, just seeing the way he was carrying himself, how he became a little overconfident, wouldn't take advice as easily as he used to, was eliminating a lot of things from his camp that he thought, was kind of weird that he would do that. But more importantly, when the weigh-ins came in, and we all know, if you don't know, Devin Haney's always kind of struggled with these weight cuts, right? He's had these shiny moments where it looks like he does a great weight cut and he comes in on shape, but generally speaking, throughout his career, Devin Haney's dealt with a lot of weight cut issues, and to the point where he's kind of earned the reputation of being a weight bully, right? So he came up to 140. When he had his fight with Regis Prograis, he did a great weight cut. He looked great. He looked like he was healthy. And you guys saw how he performed in that fight, dominated Regis Prograis. A lot of people felt like he should have stopped Regis Prograis because of where he had him in that fight. But I think going into the next fight, it seemed like Devin Haney just got a little confident, and he had another bad weight cut. And you combine that bad weight cut with Ryan Garcia coming 3 pounds overweight in that fight, Complete disregard with rumors of potentially, doing it on purpose. Eddie Hearn just mentioned to the fact that he didn't feel like that was being handled correctly, right? The weight cut should have been coming with stipulations for rehydration clauses the next day. Make sure that he cut as close to that weight as possible. Agreements that would have been implemented and put into place that would have protected Devin Haney better than he was being protected. And we all know how the fight ended, right? Being aware and taking account of the fact that Ryan Garcia definitely, later on we found out he was definitely on performance enhancement drugs and things of that nature, but also not discounting the fact that Devin Haney, did have a lot of mistakes that he committed for that fight. He didn't fight the right fight. It looks like he was being a little aggressive, kind of head hunting, putting himself in position to be there to be clipped by Ryan Garcia. Not to mention early in that first round, getting clipped with that first left hand. And we know Ryan Garcia has a signature left hook that is, probably the best left hook in the game. Caught Devin Haney and already hurt him that early in the fight, combined with the fact that he had that bad weight cut. It was just a horrible night for Devin Haney. Well, the boxing space now is raising hell, right? Raising hell to get to heaven. From their opinion, they feel like Eddie Hearn is being a snake in that interview. And I watched the whole interview. I actually watched it twice. Watched it today as well again. And my personal opinion, my perspective, I didn't see the snake behavior by Eddie Hearn. I definitely saw that he was being interviewed. I think that Devin Haney may feel some kind of way. A lot of people feel like Eddie Hearn kind of left Devin Haney out to dry. There's a lot of moving parts to this conversation. And Eddie Hearn is a businessman first, right? He's not kin to Devin Haney. He's not family to Devin Haney. He's going to be as loyal as he can be and, do the best business he thinks he can do with Devin. But ultimately, he has priorities to protect his interest first, right? And when you take into consideration that Devin Haney's not signed to Eddie Hearn, and you look at the past history between Eddie Hearn and Devin Haney, how many times Eddie Hearn's actually removed himself from certain negotiations to ensure that Devin Haney got some opportunities that he would have never have had if Eddie Hearn was involved in the conversation, because of relationships that Eddie Hearn's with some of these promoters like the Bob Arums and the Oscar De La Hoyas, things of that nature, right? So, and taking that into consideration, at some point, a businessman is going to want to recoup some sort of return on investment on not only the money he's invested in helping Devin Haney to put fights together, like the Regis Prograis and other fights that he's helped him put together, but also to recoup the time and the effort, the manpower put behind promoting this fighter, hoping that one day you and this fighter will get on the same page. This fighter will sign to you for a significant amount of fights, 2-3 fight deal. You'll be able to put him in position and get involved in some bigger fights, so where you can finally start recouping on some of these investments. And it just seems like that relationship got kind of weird with the Haney team and Eddie Hearn. And ultimately, Eddie Hearn had to put his foot down when it came to the Sandor Martin fight. If you guys recall that, Eddie Hearn wasn't interested in that fight, right? He was actually entertaining. He was advising Devin Haney to go ahead and vacate that WBC title after that Ryan Garcia fight. And he wanted to help Devin Haney rebuild his brand, get him in some other fights that were going to put him in position to get some money. But first of all, rebuild him, get his confidence back up, and get him in position to even be ready to challenge for some of these other titles, like a Liam Paro fight at the time. Excuse me, not Liam Paro, like a Subriel Matias fight at the time, because he was the champion. This is before Liam Paro took that IBF title away from him, right? And get him involved in it, looking forward to Teofimo for a WBO title, and maybe come back around to whoever had that WBC title. But ultimately, wanting to get active to rebuilding him and making him a star of some sort to be able to put him in the biggest fights. Well, Devin Haney changed his mind in the midst of that camp and decided that before the Ryan Garcia fight, that after he beat Ryan Garcia, he's going to keep his title. He's going to be interested in trying to become undisputed at 140 pounds again. Well, obviously that plan got derailed a little bit, considering the fact that him and Eddie Hearn seemed to be on two different pages. So he's like, all right, well, if that's what he's going to do, I understand. But, Eddie Hearn taking it upon himself to let it be known, you're not signed to me, right? Therefore, I have no responsibility to you to pay for a fight. More importantly, neither does the DAZN, the investors that are putting up this money, who I'm also accountable to, have any obligation to support something we don't see a real return on investment on, something that we don't think is really a profitable thing to get involved with. So they removed themselves from that situation. Devin Haney and his team, took feelings towards that, right? They took feelings towards it and felt like, it was Eddie Hearn's position to have Devin Haney's back in the form of helping him to secure this fight with Sandor Martin. Now, since then, I'm not sure how the relationship has been between Devin Haney and Eddie Hearn, but this particular interview here coming full circle to say that Eddie Hearn communicating transparently and being honest with Andre Ward, who was also understanding. I thought it was a real transparent, honest interview about what happened. I don't think there's really anything to dispute in the interview as far as his responses. You may disagree or agree with someone, but I thought they were real honest. Is Eddie Hearn a snake? Look, I don't know him personally to vouch for him on that level, but I can say in particular this interview right here, I don't see the snakish energy. Right. I think it's honest. I think I was in agreement with most of the stuff he said. Right. He commented on why Ryan Garcia probably took the Ostarine. In his opinion, he said he thought he took it for weight cut issues to help him cut weight without losing. If you know what Ostarine does, it helps you cut weight, lose fat without cutting the muscle. That's something that makes sense. He said it was significant that it was in his system during the fight, not that he just particularly took it during the camp, but it was evidence pointing towards the fact that during the fight he was actually under the influence of the Ostarine, which makes it that much worse, right? Acknowledging the role that Ryan Garcia played in the foul play that happened that night, but also holding Devin Haney accountable to the mistakes he made in the preparation for the fight and in the night before the fight with the weight cuts and what they allowed Ryan Garcia to get away with, and also obviously in the ring that night being defensively irresponsible in different ways. So what are my opinions on it? Listen, I thought Eddie Hearn was well in his right. It was his interview speaking on himself, on his career, on the trajectory of his career, the future of his career, and Devin Haney is part of his history. Andre Ward asked questions about the Devin Haney-Ryan Garcia fight, and I thought he was transparent and had honest thoughts on it. I don't see how Eddie Hearn was being a snake. And, I know the narrative is going to be there because you got content creators and fans out there who are just going to find a reason to throw a hook into Eddie Hearn and paint him in a bad light, and there's nothing you can do to change people's minds. But I do think it's kind of reaching to say that interview in particular puts him in a snake category of some sort when he was being interviewed literally about himself. Right. But you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment. Is Eddie Hearn a snake for that interview? Do you guys get a chance to take a look at it? What is he wrong for not backing Devin Haney for that Sandor Martin fight? Is he wrong for protecting his self-interest and his partner's self-interest with maybe a friend, but definitely a fighter in Devin Haney, who he has no contractual obligation to, not only to do something for, but not even able to guarantee future endeavors that will benefit the company, because Devin Haney wants to be independent. He's a promoter and he wants to control his own destiny. Well, okay, control your own destiny, put up your own money for your own fights. And, when you come up with a fight that me and my partners can benefit off of as well, we'll help promote that. Maybe we'll bid on those fights. But is he wrong for protecting the interests of his company by not getting involved with a fight he thinks up front is not going to be profitable? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But yeah, Eddie Hearn, supposedly a snake now, comments on Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney's fight, what he thought were some of the issues on there and what got in the way of Devin Haney walking away with a victory. Let me know what you think, right? Shout out to my subscribers again. If this is your first time tapping into the content, guys, remember to hit the subscribe button, hit your bell icons as well so you get alerts when all this content is dropping. And at this point, you know how we carrying it. We out.